We're live. James, you're muted. So you started off on mute. So I'm going to go. Welcome to Listen Up Maryland with James Armel, Melanie Montague. We are here every single Wednesday at 11:30. Our goal is to really promote local business, local charities, people of that nature who are really giving back to the community around us. If you're interested in being on our show, please let one of us know, James Armel or myself. We're happy to talk with you. We do it every single Wednesday. But this week, we have a fantastic gentleman who we had on once before, and we had some technical difficulties. James, do you want to do the introduction for Joseph?
Yeah, I mean, I've met Joseph online. I've helped him do a couple of different events. One of my favorite guests so far, just one of my favorite people. He has Project Veteran House going. He is a veteran himself, and he's trying to help other veterans transition out of the military. And we'll let Joe take it from there.
Well, thank you for having me first and foremost. So Project Veteran House is something I've been dreaming of for years. So, with Project Veteran House, just to recap, we provide 3 levels of services for veterans. Our first level is for homeless veterans or veterans that are trying to, that are about to put on the streets, put into transitioning programs. So, and then other programs is we like to provide extensions on some of the extended stay hotels. So they're not at risk of getting put on the streets. And a lot of the we deal with have service dogs. So that's another aspect you got to look at. And then our second tier it's called Pathway to Success. So we help, we want to help veterans be able to training, the certifications and the job placement that they deserve, and at no cost to them. One of the big things about transitioning soldiers is 51% don't know what they're doing when they get out. You have combat arms, as a Patriot missile crew member, NBC, which is nuclear, biological, chemical. You just don't go on the streets to get positions like that. So, using that to their advantage and saying, hey, you've defended our country, you deserve these services. And then the third tier is our PTSD TBI. James has helped very much. Really appreciate all the support with the volunteer at Miss Nicole's horseback farm. We have another volunteer event coming up at the first weekend in March. Looking for volunteers. It's a fun time, very therapeutic. And then, also with the third tier is, finding natural ways for veterans that suffer from PTSD to be able to go through the issues that are associated with PTSD. And one of the things I learned about most recently is beekeeping. And there's a Mission Believe, and the amazing group. And they're looking to build a tiny home, but it's also part of the therapeutic where the beehive is enclosed into the tiny home. So I thought that was very interesting. And I started helping her on that, trying to get a look or, just get with somebody that will actually create that tiny home for her so that, she can continue to provide the therapeutic services. That's pretty much an overview. We volunteer at the Charlotte Hall Veterans Home. We haven't been able to do any events this year, but definitely always a priority in getting over there. Other than that, that's pretty much an overview. I can talk forever, and I know we only have like a half an hour. So
let me ask you really quick. So you're looking for volunteers for the second weekend in March?
The first weekend in March. I think it's the 4th.
First weekend in March.
And it ranges. Like sometimes we went there. We paint the fences for Miss Nicole. We shovel, horse shit. Sorry if you're offended. I apologize. But it's fun, and the therapeutic being around horses. I never expected that. I first went, I was scared. If you notice the first pictures, I'm just like, trying not to get bit. But as soon as you feel that, it takes all the stress and anxiety. So, we do it for like 2 hours, would you say, James? This different task because she's providing this free service for veterans that have PTSD that, it's free. She usually charges $300 to $400 for a month. So we're grateful me being a veteran and my father served in the Marine Corps and fought in Vietnam. It's all about giving back. It's not about, hey, let's get recognition. It's about helping one veteran a day. So pretty much that's where we're at. So yeah, we need volunteers for the horse farm.
Okay, so I put that out
and
there.
That's where I met Joe, was at Miss Nicole's farm. She does a lot of great work too, with autistic children.
Yeah.
But like Joe said, the first time we had a real conversation, we were knee deep in horse shit, and that's how you get to know a person.
That's when the best conversations come out, right?
I mean, it was a good time. Like, you know, what we do for a living. I'm constantly on the computer. I'm in the car. I'm at houses, but maybe it's just me just getting to the farm in the morning on a weekend morning and just kind of doing some manual labor is refreshing, and you're helping out a good cause at the same time. And, you know, you kind of feel good when you leave.
Yeah,
so let me ask
paying
you,
it back.
do they allow children to participate as volunteers?
She has 3 of her kids that are some of the hardest workers I've ever been around in my life. They're like a ball of energy. I was like, oh my goodness, like, so kids are allowed. I mean, they have tasks for everyone. We're not just, you know, she's just not going to say, hey, let's throw the kids on the, you know, the manure piece of it.
Sure.
There's other activities that kids are definitely involved. I know somebody reached out to me. They have a Girl Scout group. She always loves doing events, having kids come out, and like she trains them and shows them, you know, the different tactics and way to deal with horses, and it's pretty cool.
That's nice, because oftentimes we see these groups that ask for volunteers. And I know, like myself, I've wanted my child to be able to volunteer as well, because I think it shows them giving back to the community they're in, and at age that's important. And a lot of times you're told that they can't come because of circumstances. Some of them are good, but it's more of like, it's nice to be able to have the kids see that. So thank you for clarifying that. I appreciate that very much.
Oh, no problem.
And I will second that those kids that live there, I'm assuming it's her children, are some of the hardest working, smartest kids I've met. And I don't even know her name. I just call her Boss Lady, because there's a little bit of time. They're just so busy working. And I feel I've never had a little kid make me feel bad. I'm almost 40 years old. And I'm just like, man, what do I do next? Well, how do I do this? And she's just, you know, looking at me and handing me tools and telling me what to do.
Yeah. And if you have a lazy kid, say, hey, come to the farm with us on Saturday. Like, this is what real work is, you know. But we love doing it. We love that piece of it.
That's great.
And,
that's just one of the things you do. I mean, your ultimate goal is to build a tiny home community that way you can house as many veterans as possible. And I mean, I know you've talked to politicians. I mean, you're really getting on the ball with all that. And we've talked to a couple of lenders with different ideas. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, James. I don't mean it.
I was just going to say the tiny home is your ultimate goal, but of course that's going to take time to get going. But in the meantime, you're doing a lot of great stuff, you know, just helping the individuals as they come in.
I appreciate you. So Project Veteran, the tiny project is not necessarily, hey, we're going to build this tiny home campus so the homeless veterans can come and just live there. It's a program. So it's a community program. They'll have their tiny home community. They'll have all the community services. They'll have drug and alcohol treatment. They'll have their job, job placement, job skills, how to survive, how to, your basic information that we take for granted every day, and provide them with a path to be able to succeed. And, at the end of the day, it's hard, because when you talk to, you got different politicians and you talk to different people, it's like, oh, that can't be done because of this. I said, no, it can be done because it's done across the whole United States. And that's where I want to get to. That's where, it's right now, we're only in our grassroots. We're only 11 months old. Right now we did a coat drive that provided 125 coats to homeowners across the Maryland, DC area. We're always doing fundraisers. And one of the things that we want to go towards is creating this tiny home community. And we want to break ground in 2 years. That's our vision. That's our goal. But, and again, one of our aspects of that is getting the veterans the help they need before they come transition in the program. So you don't want to put a veteran into a program that has alcohol or drug issues, or, we want to take care of the baseline. We want to have that as the bottom line of, hey, we need to take care of that first before you can transition up. Because if they're not getting their help that their demons are, or whatever they're dealing with, that needs to be taken care of first. And that's where each of the houses will be personalized for each veteran. So when they come to their house, they're like, okay, some of this information therapy is kind of stressful. It's customized to them so they can relax. It's like, because your house is supposed to be somewhere where you come home. It's like, okay, this is where I want to be comfortable. And we've helped so many veterans. Like, it's not just about the 3 tiers. We want to help them, with anything. I've been writing resumes for some transitioning soldiers and veterans. I use Chat GPT. I use keywords, and that's one of the things that I love doing. I love saying, hey, these veterans come out, or these transition soldiers come out, like, oh, how do you write a resume? And the problem is they don't understand the format. Like, you can have a bunch of information, but if there's no keywords involved, you're not going to get the job. It's just how it is nowadays. And just mentoring. I mentored for 2 companies, just transitioning soldiers, and provided certifications for them, CompTIA, Microsoft. So, we want to be that stability for the transition, so, and the veterans to be able to come to and say, hey, this is legit. You're not trying to screw us over, or you're not trying to take advantage of us, because that's not the goal. That's one of the things that we preach on, is transparency and being completely honest. So yeah, I could talk about this forever, but that's pretty much a synopsis of where we're at now.
Well, I can say that, being in real estate and us having to work with a lot of veterans, and a lot of people, we see a lot of people who are on, let's just say, the upper end in the military, right? And they have a lot of resources and stuff. But what people fail to realize is a lot of people come in the military to get out of where their location is, and to get out of their city or their town or their state, because it is an opportunity for them to actually have a different kind of lifestyle, right? And so therefore, when you take these people in the middle of nowhere, right, and they're not going to college, and they're going into a job within the military, oftentimes they don't know within that position how to capitalize on all of the things that are available to them. And then when they get out, they have so many benefits they just don't know about. And so, like, it's something that a lot of times we don't really understand, that the people who are on the outside, and understand how a veteran could not know what they have. Like, we always hear about how much they make, or how many benefits they get. The thing is it's really underserved in the sense of that. And plus, I think something that people don't realize is when these soldiers are sent to areas of disrupt, they do come back seeing things that we will never, ever see in our lives, experiencing things that we will never experience. So we can't relate. And it takes some triggers that comes here, and they just can't get out of their head, which is why having a community of people and resources that they can depend upon, like yourself and what you're building, is amazing. Because I think the government does the best that they know how to do, but I don't think that there's enough of the other to support. So I think that's phenomenal what you're doing. And I just kind of want to put that out there.
I appreciate that. That's why I started PVH, from my personal experience in the military. I think one of the things that when I came back, I wish I would have learned when, had resources for, is credit.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. That's huge, especially with the VA loans and getting a house and getting, anything. We talk about buying farmland and maybe putting Project Veteran houses on this farmland. But if you don't have the credit, then you're going to turn. I mean, that's why you guys are professionals at what you do.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's one of the things with what you're doing is you're starting with a base point, and it's just the assistance, right? It's the volunteering, it's helping people. And that's nice. And I think that when you look at the outreach, we always hear, that these veterans are homeless, and they don't know how. Like, they don't know how to use a VA loan. They don't know what the resources are. They don't know that zero money down And again, like the credit score, the credit thing is just something that not just veterans, it's like an American problem.
Yeah.
You know, it's a big problem.
I was going to say, it's not just a veteran problem. I mean, we talk to people on a daily basis, people that make good income, and they just have no financial education whatsoever, what to do with the money, you know, how to create wealth, how to make passive income. They just, oh, I got a raise, I'll go buy a nicer car. Oh, I got a raise, I'll get a bigger house.
Yeah, that's me. I mean, I've gotten it a lot better. You know, nobody's perfect, but you learn from your mistakes and you grow and be able to build off of that. So that's one thing too, is to build a network of organizations that actually care. One of the things I find that when I run into different nonprofits is, okay, do you care or do you just push an agenda? Don't get me wrong. There's many great veteran organizations out there. I could sit here for the whole meeting and name just the ones off my head. But there are ones that, you know, there's veterans that'll take advantage of you. There's organizations that'll take advantage of you. And that's what we're trying to get away from. We're trying to get into a way of building processes up so that, and at the end of the day, we don't get screwed over, if that makes sense. So we're here to help veterans with anything. You know, drug and alcohol. We partner with a couple organizations that will provide this free for them. We want to be able to sign them up for benefits that they know, get them the help that they need, get them the benefits. You know, and the big thing now is disability, and we want to be able to be that bridge so the veterans can say, hey, you know, I'm suffering. I mean, I need disability. I've been denied 3 or 4 times, and that's the problem, because we go, you know, that's a whole nother story. But these veterans went overseas and saw things that not a normal person sees, and they relive that every day. It's not like somebody says, you know, you got PTSD. It doesn't go away. You tend to the symptoms. You tend to it by medication, natural means. But for some people that never been in the military, don't understand that concept. And that's why the transition from military to civilian is so hard, because you have structure in the military. Not saying that civilians, they don't have structure, but the civilian world is different, especially for military. Really, you think we had a schedule: get up at 6, do PT, eat breakfast, be in formation at 9. You know, and then we do our normal activities. Well, in the civilian world, people aren't motivated anymore. So sometimes you need that motivation. Like, am I in this job for the money? Like, what's going on? So that's where we're at, and just providing services that will benefit every veteran. It doesn't matter, you know, what you're going through. We'll find a way to help you.
I mean, what you're trying to do, what I like the most, is the fact you're trying to create a community, not just find housing. I listen to a lot of like different podcasts, and one I recently listened to was a retired Green Beret, and he kind of touched what you were just talking about. Is I've been gone for 2 years. You know, I have a strong community, a brotherhood that most people will never even, you know, experience, which is a good thing. He said, but at the same time, I'm coming home to kids that I barely know. I don't have a job. My wife is kind of estranged. He's like, I lost everything in a day. And he was like, I don't miss being in war, but I do miss that community. And that's something that most citizens don't realize, because we never have that experience.
And you hear stories all the time where people like done 3 tours, like, I'm going back because of that camaraderie, that brotherhood, that sisterhood. And you know, that's where all this comes from. That's where the passion comes in, providing this. And, you know, ultimate goal, I wish I could build a tiny home community to every state. But again, I got to come to reality sometimes.
Well, you know what? Everything starts with an idea. And that doesn't mean that it can't happen. What it is we figure out the first part of it, and then you duplicate it over and over again, because you've built such a strong community and you start getting more and more help. It's always hard to get things going at first. And so one of the questions I was going to ask you is, so you're based here in Southern Maryland?
Yeah, I was born and raised in La Plata. I went to La Plata High School. We currently, me and my wife, we live in White Plains.
Okay.
But we cover, it's not just Charles County. We go across the U.S. really. One of our board members is responsible. He lives in New York City. He's responsible for all the homeless veterans of the United States. He works with a company called America Works, and he's been vital. He's the one that said, "Hey, not all veterans are nice. Not all transitioning soldiers are nice. There's people out there," and that's how it was at the beginning. And I mean, I learned my lesson. I decide things with my heart still, but I'm kind of a little hesitant now. But then one of our boarders, she actually went to New Orleans. One of the veterans had a service dog that they were going to take from her, and she actually trained the dog to be a certified PTSD dog. So that was pretty exciting for us. Yeah, we got a great team. My sister is one of the board members. My wife, she's a board member. Miss Pat, she's out of Southern Maryland in St. Mary's. She's part of the Marine Corps Women's Auxiliary. She's been a huge help. And all we're doing is just trying to grow and find veterans and families that need our help.
Okay. So although you're from Charles County, you go a wide reach. Mm-hmm. Your focus, though, is to help people that are veterans in any capacity that need the guidance, and your goal is to bring them in to be able to guide them to and point them in the direction they need to go for the assistance that they're looking for, and kind of be a facilitator with that and get them to where they're moving forward in life.
Yes, most definitely. Everybody says like you have to stick to one niche or whatever. I just want to provide the services. As long as they're effective and they get the help they need, I'm not going to limit myself by saying, hey, I can only do this for you. No, we have a community. There's a way to communicate and get these services because they're out there. It's about the knowledge and mending that bridge.
So it's kind of creating that brotherhood, sisterhood that they have out in service, but local, right? Local, the people that they can lean in on at any time.
Yes, definitely.
I think that's great. That's great. I mean, really.
Yeah.
Nice.
And you've also just recently become Microsoft certified. I don't think we've
touched on that
yet.
Microsoft certified trainer. And that's part of providing for the veterans. So we have a network of Microsoft certified trainers that provide free services for our classes, including myself. And it ranges from your basic fundamental Azure, basic Microsoft 365, all the way to advanced architectural type certifications. But we just launched that pathway to success on Saturday. We had two veterans that are from New York. One was in the homeless shelter, and he doesn't know anything about computers. So I made it a point to actually customize his training plan or his learning path to him, not necessarily what we're offering, if that makes sense, because we can't leave out everybody. Like there's always going to be, one of the things is the older veterans, they don't know how this computer stuff works. Like my kids, they know computers. They know that I grew up going outside and come up when mom told me, ring the bell. And, but yeah, we have a plan and we have a program, and then we've also been part with a few job agencies and government contractors in the area that has promised that they will set interview times to for veterans that go through the program. And then also I have a for-profit, which is JAB Cloud Solutions. And the ultimate goal for that is winning government contracts, and the students or the veterans that we take through our program, get them cycle right there into our government contracting. Oh, wow. Teach them everything that they need, certify them, and then transition them to that. And again, my brain's always going, so
are you looking for any particular sort of services to partner with currently at this time that maybe somebody that sees this might reach out to you and see if you're a good fit with each other?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times it's finding organizations that actually, the hardest thing for me is finding veterans that are going through issues without, information, PII, whatever, a lot of organizations don't want to tell you that stuff. So just organizations that kind of have a database or something that we can go off of and say, hey, I'm not here to take over your world. I'm just here to help you and assist you. And I tell you another story real quick. So I sat in on, it was the 4 boroughs of New York City, the homeless veteran council meeting. And one of the things that was brought up was none of the board members were veterans. And they attacked, or their mission was like a RACI board or a project management. But these are veterans. These are people that fought for your country. You're going to compare treating them to a project management project? That makes no sense. That's so insensitive. And I was like, and I told Will, I was like, come on, this is ridiculous. So just a little story on that. And it's some sad things. There's some days I wake up like, I want to help as many people as I can, but there's some days it's like, man, it's just stressful sometimes. But
well, it comes from education, right? Informing people. And you've said it, I've said it. I think that a lot of people don't realize what a lot of people go through. I don't realize it either. I'm not a veteran. I did date a guy that was in the military for a long time, and it ended up with some PTSD from the Gulf War, right? So that's why I have a little understanding of it, but nowhere near probably what you or others have. So I think at that point is that it's just education and opening people's eyes to these folks, number one. And number two is businesses being able to open their eyes to figure out, like, how's the best way to serve people? How's the best way to help these people? And that's what you're looking to do, is really kind of bridge the gap.
Yeah, transition. Yeah, that's all it comes down to.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, you want to help more people, but unfortunately, most people don't want to admit that they need the help. And I mean, you're on a whole nother level than we are, but I mean, we work with clients that they're on the verge of going homeless, but they want to hide their heads. They want to bury their heads in the sand, and they just want to pretend that it's not real. And no matter how much you try to help them, if they're not willing to accept it, there's really not much you can do.
Yeah, veterans are prideful people. You can't approach a veteran that's on the streets or homeless and kind of talk down to them. You can't just do that. That's just, to me, that's a wrong approach. And that's what we want to fix. One of the things is the communication, to be able for them to talk and get the help and the services they need. And they need a ride, I'm going to provide the right, transportation for them. We're all self-funded, so all our money comes from me and my wife working full-time, and then everything goes in the Project Veteran House. So, when we do these fundraisers and things like that, it goes right back to providing computers and printers. We provided a veteran that just started back to school, provided her with a brand new computer and printer. And that's just one example of what we want to do as a whole. We don't want to go through all this red tape, because it gets frustrating, and it's like, oh yeah, I just don't want to go through this because I get denied every time. We want to be that real-time solution for them.
Right.
Yeah. And there are a lot of services out there for veterans, but as you mentioned, I witnessed this when my stepdad passed away. My mom got some of his retirement and stuff like that. But if it wasn't for all three of us, like her kids, it was a lot to go through. Like, she's already grieving, and let alone she has to do 900 pages of paperwork just to get the benefits that she deserves. It's almost as if they try to make it complicated, so you'll just kind of give up and not follow through with it. And if you don't have somebody on your side helping you, I could see how you would get frustrated and just kind of give up.
Yeah, it's sad sometimes, but you see the success stories too.
Sure.
Yeah.
I can see that any of us on our real estate team is willing to help you and anybody that you're working with their credit, or how to look at it with open eyes. We have Tim Murphy. You've met Tim, I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
I can speak for this, that he'd be happy to sit down with anybody and let's just go through it and figure it out and put him on the right path. The other thing that I would say is that in the state of Maryland, that if you are 100% disabled veteran, you qualify for free taxes, property taxes, meaning you don't pay property taxes on your property when you purchase a property, and but you have to be 100% disabled. It is something that people don't know. So they go and buy a property, you have to qualify with it with the property taxes, but then there's a form you fill out, it goes to the VA and they look at it, and if you meet the criteria of the disability, then they're going to give you that. That's a huge savings. That property taxes is $3,000 and $4,000 depending on the price point of the house. And so that is a huge benefit that's underserved as well.
Yeah, it's not known.
Exactly. It's not known. I'll tell you, a lot of real estate agents don't know it either. They just don't know. I know in some states it's a certain percentage. In Maryland, it's 100%. Some it's less. So just keep that peace of mind. If you're working with somebody in Virginia, we'd have to check that out, right, to find out what theirs is. But it's just good information. So we're willing to do that to help anybody, to help you in your cause. I think that's fantastic.
I appreciate it. Appreciate that. And I know the veterans that we're helping would appreciate that as well.
Yeah. I mean, we're always willing to help. And she mentioned Tim Murphy. He actually does free credit repair. So he's another great resource that we're happy to connect you with. I mean, we met him a couple weeks ago, and believe
lots
it or not,
of energy.
that was
I love it.
his first day without coffee. So
oh yeah, that's right.
Tim is a character. Sometimes I got to warn people. Like, he's the most knowledgeable person I've ever met. He's saved many deals when other lenders have failed. But I mean, he's a genuinely caring person, and I don't know where he finds his energy, but I am jealous.
And without coffee,
no coffee. So, all right. So, what is Joseph? Just give us what is your next goal? Like, what is something that you want everybody to know that you're really, really working towards at this point? Because we're at 31 minutes, but let's just find out, what is the biggest push for you right now that you either need or want to see happen? I know you need volunteers, or is it something you really want to talk to people about farmland? You know what I mean? Like, whatever it might be, or the bee thing, because bees. I wanted to tell you, bees can be a oh my gosh, a reduction in taxes on properties on a property that you have, because it could be considered farm. Okay. But it has to meet a certain criteria of bees on the property and stuff. But I think it's really cool. I just wanted to share that too.
Yeah. So what I'm dealing with the few veterans I've been helping, trying to get into programs. If you have a service dog, these programs don't take you. It doesn't matter if a service dog is certified through the VA or they don't take them. And to me, that leaves out a lot of veterans that need the help, but since they don't have a service dog, since they can't accept service dogs, then they're stuck. And I think that's unfair. If the VA offers you a PSD dog, they should be able to provide programs that shows you which ones can accept these the service dogs. And that's one of the goals that I'm pushing for. And again, it's always changing. I'm always trying to make the best solution possible for the veterans and transitioning soldiers. And truthfully, I'm just looking for like-minded people that have the same passion for veterans and giving back to help spread the word, really. Because without the community, we're nothing.
Okay. That's fair. So John Katz, who has been here the whole time, and thank you for your service, also said,
thanks, John.
when you're building your tiny home, we specialize in maximizing storage space with our custom built-in. So maybe what we can do is get your information to John and John's information to you. And then as you develop in this project, then maybe y'all can pair up in some capacity.
Yeah, definitely. And I just recently got into the politics of it. So I've met a lot of great people. So yeah, John, I appreciate it. And I definitely want to contact you about that.
Did you just say great people in politics? Is that a thing?
It is a thing, James. It is a thing. It is a thing.
Yeah.
I plead the fifth. Nice.
We'll leave that right there.
I mean, you always do your events. I mean, are you looking for corporate sponsors as well? I mean, I have your email.
That's the next step, is to get actual sponsorships and partners to drive it forward. There's only so many hours in the day, and you get up at 5, 6 o'clock, and then before you look, it's 9 or 8. So definitely trying to build the team.
Yep. So you got big goals, big dreams, and taking the baby
It's the
steps
only
in
way
the
to be.
meantime. Yeah,
Yep.
absolutely. Big dream or don't dream at all.
Go big or go home, right?
That's right.
You got to start with something small and work your way up.
Yeah,
So,
right.
Right? It works. All right. So listen, I'm going to say we've been at 35 minutes here. We don't like to take too much of people's time. Honestly, it has been a pure pleasure to talk with you about your project, to understand what you're doing for the community of the veterans. Yes, thank you for your service. Thank your wife for, her time of being married to you and your service. A lot of sacrifices.
Definitely.
And I'm serious about, we'll be able to help you all with any credit repair. We will team up with Tim. We will also team up on our real estate team. I was thinking about putting together a budgeting class, and that might help as well, because there's so many people that need that.
And would that be a class that you could offer virtually? Because a lot of the veterans aren't local. Okay, awesome.
Everything can be virtual these days. Don't you know? It's 2023, baby.
I know.
Make it happen.
That's right.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that's important. We want to thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. If you are a business out there that would like to know more about Joseph's Project Veteran House and you want to be a part of that and partner with him in any capacity, please reach out to James, Armel, or myself. You can look him up and reach out to him yourself. Right there at the bottom of our screen is his website that keeps going over and over again. So we got you covered in a couple of ways. I just want to thank you so much. If you are looking to be on our show, James and I, this Listen Up Maryland, let us know. If you know somebody that would benefit from being on here, let us know. Please spread the word. Share this video. It's a fantastic opportunity for people. And if you want to volunteer on the first weekend of March with some horses with James, Armel as well, you all can shovel some stuff together. I'm not going to say it. And have a good time in support of the veterans around. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate y'all.
Thanks, Joe.
Thanks.
All right. Till next time.
Bye.
See ya.
Have a great week.
You too.